Hi, my friends. Welcome to Flosstube number 9. My name is Barb. It is February 21st. It is Friday here in Western New York, and it is a balmy 17 degrees. It's snowing again, little flakes, nothing that'll stick, but it sure is cold. We've had a really rough cold snap here, and you'll see that in my temperature Quaker. So my Flosstube channel, obviously I talk about cross stitch, but I do bring in a little bit of quilting and, maybe a little bit of personal presence and chatting about some of the other floss tubers that I've seen. So it's kind of, sit back, relax, and just let me chat your ear off for a bit. I'm going to try to keep this under an hour. I say that every single time, and it doesn't always work. But I can say I do appreciate some of the longer floss tubes or quilting videos that I can sit and watch, so that I know that I have an hour to an hour and a half of, let's say, focus time, that I know I can work on that particular project. And then when that particular video is done, I can move to a different project or pick a smaller video. So personally, I enjoy the videos that are 30 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes, sometimes even longer. Fat Quarter Shop, I think theirs was 2.5 hours on Wednesday. It was great. She had a lot of fun stuff there too. Almost enabled me to make some purchases, but I said, nope, market is coming. Oh, and I've already made some market purchases through Hobby House, but that's okay. Right? So let me get started here. I left off, I don't even remember the number of whips that I showed you. But I do have maybe a half dozen more, maybe 8 or 10, whatever. I didn't even count. So let me pick up where I left off on my whips for my whip parade. I have shown this one before, and I have also mentioned that Kim Diehl is my ultimate favorite fabric designer. Lori Holt is a definite second, right? So Kim Diehl actually came out. She has 2 out now, cross stitch patterns, and this is called Easily Distracted. And if you can see, it is stitched on a Lori Holt mesh bag. Now, I didn't purchase the bag because I generally don't carry large totes. That's not something that I would normally do. So what I did for this was I found some 10 count in my stash. I might be loosening up here because I'm actually using a scroll, and again, I prefer to stitch in hand, but on something like this I am using a scroll because my tension was just not there. Now let me make sure it's going the right way. Yes, so this is where I am on this, and the problem that I am having, and it's really not a problem, it's more of a preference. I am using Valdani. Now, I have never stitched with Valdani, and it is like a pearl cotton, right? It's thicker, and the colors, of course, are beautiful. Again, Kim Diehl, right? These are my colors. Very fall. Trying to make sure I'm not getting any of the glare. But what I'm finding is I guess I'm just not used to stitching with such a thick thread. And I keep looking at this project. This should have been done already. This is a very quick pattern. I mean, look at it. It's not that difficult, right? And I am bouncing around when I am doing the squares because the squares are tiny. But I want to make sure that I am getting some type of variegation among the coloring, and I am not sure I'm actually enjoying this. But I think it's just me. It's definitely not the colors nor the pattern. It's just that I haven't stitched on this type of fabric in years, and I'm talking 40 years, right? So it becomes then another learning curve, something else to process, making sure that, stitches are the tension is good. And again, that's why I am stitching on a scroll, because I need those tensions to be nice and not pulled tight, but I don't want them loosey-goosey either. And then I'm thinking about, well, what am I going to do with this? Do I want to turn this into a pillow? I don't know. So easily distracted has me easily distracted because I'm just rethinking what it is I want to do with this. And again, I love it. And Kim Diehl has already come out with a second pattern, but it has chickens in it. And my friends, I'm not a fan of the farm animal things. I mean, I love them. I think they're gorgeous. They're really cute, especially when some of the designers put like a personality to the animal. But that's not how I decorate. I am more flowers, definitely flowers. I'm a huge gardener, so I really enjoy the flowers, the sewing themed things like that. So that particular pattern by Kim Diehl, I probably won't be adding to my stash. So this again is called Easily Distracted by Kim Diehl. Okay, back into the crib where the projects live. The next is called Maker and Mender, and my stitchy friend Cindy and I started this a couple of years ago. Cindy's finished and it's gorgeous. Mine's not. And the last time I worked on it, I had realized that I had made a big mistake. So it went into timeout. So this is Maker and Mender. Try to hold it so you can see the actual picture. Maker and Mender by Brenda Gervais, and it's gorgeous. It is really, really a very pretty and soft stitch. Now, let me pull out where I am. As I said, I had been stitching and then realized that I was in the wrong spot, so I had to pull out my lettering. Just trying to lay the threads over here so you can just see how pretty everything is going to be together. So this is where I am. I got the bag upside down. Everything's falling out of the bag because I didn't look to see which end of the bag I grabbed. Okay, and there's the threads. Oh, I love it. It is so very pretty. And I've already been thinking today what my stitch will be for tonight. And I think I might have to pull this one out because I'm very jealous that Cindy has hers done and mine is still sitting here. So I can tell you what I'm stitching on. I'm not as prepared today as I normally am. I started this October 1st, 2023, and I am stitching on 28 count oak and Lugana by Picture This Plus. I am using one strand over 2 threads, and I'm using all the called for threads. And as I said, I'm absolutely loving it. It's so soft. I think this might have to be my stitch for tonight. So that is Maker and Mender by Brenda Gervais. Now, I am also doing, I know I had a few videos back, I talked about a temperature galaxy that I was doing that I started probably for 2022. And it was on Black Ada, and it was a galaxy, so everything swirled around, and it was really cool. But I got about 6 months into it, and I had made one mistake, and it was okay. I was able to kind of remember where that mistake was as I was going around the galaxy. But then I looked at it, and I thought, where am I going to actually display this? I didn't want to make a pillow. It wouldn't really go very well with anything I had, and even if I put it off to the side somewhere and hung it, it still was just not me. So I had forgotten that I had purchased Temperature Quaker by the Stitchin Mommy, and I pulled that out, and I know I've shown this already this year. And again, just, you know, I do have notes on my paperwork because initially when I said I was going to do this for 2025, I thought, oh, I don't want to do all the letters in the background, and I don't want to do all those little pieces, those little leg of the bird, and there's a crown and a heart and stuff. And then when I read the directions and saw that the alphabet was actually for the month of December, because there are 11 motifs on here and the alphabet is for December, I said, oh, well, now I have to do it. But, so this is Temperature Quaker by the Stitchin Mommy. I did get this as a PDF, and I did purchase it on Etsy. And yes, I do have notes on there. Now, I did download this pattern into Pattern Keeper, and I'm still on the fence about Pattern Keeper. I thought that it automatically updated across the platforms that you used it on. Like I have it on my phone and I have it on my iPad, not iPad, on my tablet. And I thought that when it updated in both places, but it doesn't. You basically have to export, from what I understand, you have to export your current work to, like, you know, I have OneDrive from Microsoft. So you basically have to export it and then probably import it. I don't know. In all honesty, when I do my work on Temperature Quaker, I go in and I mark it off in my tablet. And if I happen to be watching Flosstube on my tablet, the next time I'm working on it, I have to go back into my phone and update it. I will not 100% use Pattern Keeper. And I also discussed in my last video where I went and I took all of my patterns and I logged them into an Excel spreadsheet. I forgot my downloaded patterns. So I now have to go back, and I was at 207 patterns. And I don't even know how many more I have downloaded. I have some in OneDrive. I have some, oh, that's another project for future me, not today. So anyway, Stitchin Mommy, Temperature Quaker. I'm really, really enjoying this stitch. Now, my notes to myself here, I'm using Hollis Hands Creates card that I got when I purchased some fabric. I am stitching this on Smoky White Ada 18 count by Hollis Hands. I'm using all the DMC, and I'm using 2 threads. Now, I started this on January 10th of this year, and the reason I'm using DMC is because I had this whole palette set up for when I was doing the Temperature Galaxy. So why reinvent the wheel? I had my whole temperature broken down. I believe I went from, I have it here, I went from anything 11 degrees and below, and then anything 90 degrees and high. And all of my other colors, I'm using 36 different colors. Some of them are giving 2 temperature range, some are giving 3. So I am, I'm really pleased that I already had this mapped out and I didn't have to do it. So right now, because it's been so cold, I am using blues and the purples. The purples are the really, really colds. So far, the lowest or the highest temperature we have had just for the month of February, because I'd have to go back. I can see some in January are the same color. We've had temperatures this month in February, a high of 16. That was a high, and a low of 5 that day. Now, I'm not doing the lows, I'm just doing the highs. And then in January, we had, let's see, one day where the high was 11 and the low was -3. It was January 22nd. It was cold. So here is my Temperature Quaker. I'm going to try to put this behind it so you can actually see. I love it. I love the colors because I know the blues and the purples are going to be very representative. I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. Very representative of the temperatures. And I also like the way that it is designed. It's not, she doesn't have it going in a circle. So it was like here and then here and here and then here and here. So it's been bouncing around. There's going to be no way I'll be able to go back and say, oh, what was the temperature on blah, blah, blah day, unless I literally look at the pattern and pull out my temperature chart. But I think the overall rainbow effect of the colors is just going to be beautiful, the way that the pattern is laid out. So this is Temperature Quaker by Stitchin Mommy. Now the other project I had spoken of, and I might have shown this on my last one, I'm not even sure now, because I just pulled this out to work on it, and I tried to keep things separated from the last time I started the WIP Parade. I did show this book, so maybe I did show this already. It's called Quaker Samplers. I did purchase this on Amazon. It is phenomenal. Now, all of the designs in the book basically are charted. I mean, some of them are in black and white, but a good portion of them are still in color. And of course, obviously, you can choose whatever color you want. But I am so glad I have this book. I was gifted with my exchange through the Across the Pond group at Christmas. There was an exchange, and I signed up for it. And the person who had my name gifted me some floss that I've never seen before. It's called Moe's Sale. And this is the coloring. So what I've been working on, I don't want to show the pattern because it's actually on the other side of the page here, is this. I wanted to try to use that floss and see what it would look like. Now, because of the way that this floss is dyed, it's not really variegated. It's in sections. It's really kind of cool. I'm just going to untie it here so you can see. So, in my opinion, and I've never dyed floss, I want to say that, they maybe did, like they dyed this end and they dyed this end and then they dyed this, or maybe even like this. I don't know. But this is the way the floss looks. Okay. So it's not as variegated, which is fine, because as I'm stitching this, I am just bouncing all over the place and putting in my threads so that I am making it look more variegated. It's really kind of fun, and it's very easy to stitch. Now, this is where I'm at. I worked a little bit on it last night, and I am stitching over 2, and I want to say this is 18 count, and it has a shimmer to it. Let me try to get a white behind it. Maybe that'll help, because I can see through it. Well, that's not helping because the book is dark. So I am, as I'm stitching, I'm bouncing all over the place. So like if I have something that's in, like I'm working on the center motif, and I noticed last night, of course, as I was stitching, I was watching Flosstube. I was watching Carol Saltbox. Oh my God, if you don't go and watch her Blackbird Palooza, I'm not saying anything more about it other than go watch Carol Saltbox, her latest video for her Blackbird Palooza. Okay, so because I was watching Carol, I made a mistake. So I'm working in this area right here. So because I have green here, I started with orange over here. Now my thread, as you can see, it's on a needle. So as I'm going along, I'm going to try to keep the orange closer to the green, and then, just kind of see where I go. So it's been interesting to work with this floss, and it took me a little bit when I started, because I just wasn't really sure what it was doing. And I did start with this motif right here. So you can see that, once I got going, I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's such a big expanse. And of course, I'm sure I could cut my floss shorter, but I don't. I don't like threading my needle, okay? So I'm going to show you my length of floss that I use. Here we go. Right? Wait, it's not done. It's here. It's this, right? It's an expanse. I don't like to keep threading my needle. So that's me. That's how I like to stitch. So yeah, as I'm working, I will cut the thread if I see that I have too much color concentrated in one area. I guess that's probably the best way to describe it. But I'm actually enjoying this, and I can tell you that there are multiple more designs that I would like to stitch, because somewhere in this pile is a package of fabric. I am going on retreat, and I thought, well, no, oh, here it is behind me. I thought it would be really cute to do some smalls out of this fabric. Now, I purchased this fabric a few years ago, and I purchased it by accident because, trust me, I don't like sparkle and glitter in my fabric. My daughter danced for years and years and years and is still active in theater, and I have had it up to here with glitter and sparkles. I was also a bridal seamstress, so please no more. That's just me. But I purchased this fabric in error because it was iridescent or opalescent or whatever they called it. And it's gorgeous. It's by XJude Design. This is all 14, it is 14 count opalescent. But this is just not stuff that I would use in an everyday sampler. So what I did was I took the fabrics, and I'm going to use my coloring cottons. Some of these I got as, I think they were just doing, you know, like random packs of things. And I thought, oh, what the heck. So I'm going to take these colors and try to mix them in with some of this. Now, I know this is an autumn pack, so things are going to be more browns and stuff like that. So, I mean, like this might work on here if I use 2 strands. This celery might be too light. I might pull it in with a brown. I don't know. But my thoughts are, overall, to make some smalls using the little Quaker book, or using that Quaker book, and using up some of this fabric, because, again, either I put a stash on load or it sits here. So that's that WIP. Now, I think that's it. Nope. This is also the same thing I did the last time. When I was doing that spreadsheet, I talked about that spreadsheet that when I pulled out all my patterns and my partially kitted and my fully kitted and all these other things, and I put them into the Excel sheet, and I got all done. And then last week when I came to video my WIP parade, I found one more that I completely forgot. And now today I'm thinking, you never even put in the patterns for Pattern Keeper into your Excel sheet or anything that I've downloaded. Like I said, it's okay. We'll get to it. We're going to get to it. Now, this one I am embarrassed about. My mother passed away in 2018. Just trying to not hit my plants over here. And I had decided, I saw this one particular pattern. Might have been Brenda and Laura that did it, or it could have been Carol Saltbox, or I don't even remember anymore. But I jumped on it right away, and it's called And Be Kind. Be kind to one another. And it is by Needlework Press. And there is a companion piece. It's called Diligent, in All Things Be Exceedingly Diligent. There's actually a picture of it on the back cover. But this is, I won't be stitching that. But I looked at this piece and I fell in love with it. So I decided to make it a memorial piece for my mother, myself, and my daughter. So what I've done, I just changed colors a bit because I wanted to do different. I wanted to do the alphabet in different colors to honor, you know, like mine is at the top. I took the green. So I highlighted my initial BT for my maiden name. The next set of letters, I have JL. That's my mother. Now, my mother's favorite color was blue. So that's why I'm putting that color there. And then the last color, which I haven't gotten to yet, this is where I am right now. I'm at that set of flowers. So this last bit of alphabet, geez Louise, I don't have much more to go. Why is this not done? So the last set of alphabet that you see here, I will put my daughter's initials in there. And I'm using Calico Kitty for that particular alphabet, even though it's called for something different for that alphabet. My daughter's a cat lady. my daughter's a cat lady, right? So I just thought that that would be really pretty to use for her. So I'm almost done. I'm right here where the flowers are. And in all honesty, this stitches really quickly. I'm surprised at how quickly it does stitch. And you know what? I know that I have made a couple of counting errors. But one of the things that I made a mistake in was this medallion here. And I just fudged it. But it is turning out really, really pretty. So I know I was going to work on, oh my God, tonight I was even going to contemplate working on Americana blue. I don't know. I have to get one of these things going. But I am stitching on, let me just pull this. I actually have it in one of these things. It's one of those desk things because I thought, oh goodness, you know, that would be fun to sit there because then I can put the pattern here and I have all my good stuff in here, but it is so cumbersome. I am using an urge hoop. Again, as I've mentioned many, many times, I prefer not to stitch in a hoop, but it is linen and it is all loosey-goosey, and I am not a fan of Nerge hoops, but it's getting the job done. So let me find for you, I am using the called for threads. They are classic colorwork threads. Actually have my note in here from when I purchased. I purchased from Sherry Colorado Cross Stitcher. And this is actually before I started writing everything on little cards. Apparently this receipt is just for the fabric and not for the linen. Oh, hang on. I lied. I found it. Look, it's right here. And Be Kind. It's 36 count Edinburgh linen cappuccino by Fiber on a Whim. I love it. It's so pretty. I am stitching 1/2. I started this on September 4th of 2022. Shame on me. Shame on me. Oh gosh, June is up there going, are you kidding me, girl? So again, it is a memory piece. And I started it on the 4th anniversary of my mother's passing. I gotta work on this. Maybe tonight. Maybe this is the piece I will work on tonight. I can't. So bad. But you know what? Here's the other thing. I hear a lot of people say the same thing. Even Carol Saltbox was saying, I gotta get to this. Why haven't I finished this? Right? Why haven't I finished this? Because we get so excited. Excuse me. Dropping floss on the floor. And make sure it goes where it needs to go. We get so excited over the things that we're working on. And then, of course, there's market. Now, I have made some pre-purchases through Hobby House Needleworks. What is going on here? Through Hobby House Needleworks, because I mentioned the last time I'm going to retreat in April. And oh my gosh, if anybody is going to the Heartstring Samplery and Plum Street Samplers Retreat in April of 2025, it's hosted by Hobby House Needleworks. It's going to be held at the Woodcliff Hotel in Pittsford, Rochester, Pittsford area. Please let me know. There is a group on Facebook, Plum Street Samplers, like Friends of Plum Street, something like that. I am a member of that group, and I actually started a little chat type thing, or I started an event for anybody that's going to the retreat so that maybe we could link up and just sit and chat. Honest to God, there's probably 15 to 20 people that have already said, hey, I'm going. Hey, I'm going. So I'm hoping it would be really nice if anybody else is going, that, we could sit at the same table or meet up. I will be staying right at the Woodcliff. The last retreat that I went to from Hobby House, I didn't stay at the Woodcliff and I had FOMO. Not gonna lie. So I know that I will probably be padding down from my room to the whole area in my slippies with my little stitchy stuff. And I'm just going to stitch the weekend away until I go over to Hobby House and pick up my orders. I did order the cookbook, though. I did pre-order the Market cookbook. I did not get one for last year, and I'm not happy with myself. I don't know if I thought I was going to, or I thought I had, or whatever. But I do have my 2023. It's actually sitting in my kitchen. And I did hear that there's over 50... What did the girls from Primrose say? There's either over 50 recipes or over 50 charts. One or the other. Either way, for the cost of the book, and I love a cookbook. Honestly, this is my second most favorite book to read. Is to sit and read an antique cookbook. And I have a big collection of them. I have one of my great-grandmother's cookbooks that was given to her by my grandmother. So I love that one because that is a family heirloom. I have a lot of my grandmother's recipes. My mother really wasn't much of a cook. And I don't mean that in the bad way. My mother worked. My grandmother and step-grandfather lived with us. So they basically took care of me while my mother worked. So, my gram did most of the cooking. But yeah. So if you're going to the Hobby House retreat, please let me know. And also, please keep your eye out for June of 2026. Brenda Gervais will be at Hobby House, or they will have the retreat, which will probably be at the Woodcliff. I'm sitting there with my finger like this, waiting to shoom, add to cart, as soon as that is posted. So that's my excitement coming up in the next couple months. Now, who did I watch? I told you I watched Carol Saltbox. Oh, I was speechless at almost everything that she showed. Just, man, oh man, if you are a fan of Blackbird Designs, or even if you're not, go look at Carol's stitching. If I can only be 25% of Carol's stitching, her just, oh, it's beautiful. Okay, so I watched Carol Saltbox. I watched Fat Quarter Shop the other day. It was like 2.5 hours long, and Kimberly went through a lot of the cross-stitch things, and she also did a quilt. She was showing some quilts, I think, or am I confusing it with another one? Either way, that was a fun one to watch. I watched Lindy Stitches because she's been going along and giving the Nashville update. It's kind of cool to see that she is spotlighting those designers that are obviously showing what their new designs are going to be. It's a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. I have a few more things written down, and I know that I can, hopefully if Hobby House has it, I can just order it, and I know it'll be ready for me when I go in April. I already warned them. So that's kind of fun for me. Who else did I watch on my list? Oh, Welcome Stitchery, Justine and Shelly. Oh, I love them. Oh, I just love listening to them. And Justine's giggle makes me giggle, right? I wish I could travel to their shop, because I probably would be there all day. And I know there were a couple more that I watched, but unfortunately, like Karen, Recovering Monogamous Stitcher, Sarah Stitchy Spot. Hi, Sarah. Love Sarah. Just love Sarah. There were a few others that I watched that I didn't get to write down my names. So here's a funny thing. I always talk about Hobby House Needleworks being my local LNS. That's redundant. Being my LNS. Now, I live just outside of Buffalo. Hobby House is in Rochester. It's about an hour and 15 minutes away. I discovered, purely by accident, and when I tell you the story how, even my stitchy friend Cindy just laughed at me, right? I was looking in the West Seneca Senior Citizens newsletter, because yes, I am a senior citizen, right? So I was looking in the newsletter to see if they had some kind of sewing group or stitching group just to get together locally, very locally, with friends. And I came across this shop and I said, the heck is this? Apparently there is a shop that opened in Clarence, which is maybe a half hour from me. And darn it, if I didn't write down her name, and I can't look at it because it's on my phone. But she's only been open for about a year, and I am definitely going to make the trip out there to go and see her shop. I know that she posted on her website, because I found she's on Facebook, and she also has a little website, and she does have floss and things like that. And the problem that I have, and maybe some of you do the same, I don't mind using the called for colors. Most often, if I buy a pattern, I will buy the floss. But if I know I'm not going to be stitching it right away, I might just get the pattern. So when I go to pull floss, maybe I don't have all the floss, or I don't have linen. I very rarely buy the linen that the item is stitched on, because some of the older patterns, you know, it's stitched on 40 count. 36 is pushing it for me, okay? I could probably do 40 count. I would need my magnifier, 2 pair of glasses, and bright light, and do this in the morning, right? So I generally don't purchase the fabric. So buying the floss, it's kind of hard if I don't have the fabric, if I want to change colors. So I love looking at fabrics, and that goes with my quilting and everything. I love to touch them and feel them and look at the colors and just pet the fabric. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So knowing that there is a shop that's a half hour from me, that, you know, if I say, oh, you know what, I want to pull out a couple patterns, I'm going to just take a scoot to her shop and see what she has. Now, I said in my last video, before I go to Hobby House in April, I'm probably going to pull a dozen of my patterns that are like right on my radar, that I want to really stitch next. And I will take them with me to Hobby House and either get fabric and floss, you know, kit them up. Because again, buying the floss and not being able to purchase the stitched on recommended fabric, sometimes you're just not sure. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, as I said, when I go to Hobby House, I'm going to probably take at least a dozen of my patterns along with me and kit some things up. But it's also nice to know that I now have something even closer, and she's about a half of an hour away. And she's located on Main Street in Clarence, New York. And I wish I could think of the name of her shop, and I didn't write it down in my book, but I'll have that for you the next time. Or Google, right? Cross stitch shop on Main Street in Clarence, New York. Google Maps will help you out. Okay, so something else that I saw on Fat Quarter Shop, and I had to giggle because Kimberly was showing that they now have these magnetic boards in stock. Do you know how old this board is? I think I got this way back in the 80s, if not the 70s. And it also came with the magnetic counting guide. Look at how old this ruler is, right? So, you know, people were in the chat, they're like, oh my God, that's really cool. And then some of us were like, yep, been using that for years. I think I have 2, 3, 4 of them, whatever. But this is very handy. And we used to, when I worked at Joann Fabrics years ago, I think everybody I know has worked at Joann Fabrics, and let's not even talk about what's going on with that store. They used to sell magnetic tape by the roll. Okay, so I would just cut off pieces, plop them on here. I did find on Amazon maybe a couple of months ago some magnetic strips, and I have them on some of my other boards because I have multiples of these, especially on projects that are a little bit bigger. I just keep them right in the bag because it works, right? Okay. So what other thing do I have? I'm going to sneak out of the screen. Now, I saw this. Oh, goodness. Whose Flosstube? No, I can't remember. Was it Shelly and Justine, or was it? No. I want to say it was Sarah Stitchy Spot. Almost 100 on that. I went and I ordered this immediately. Immediately. And I can still smell the wood burning on here. Look at this needle book. This is by the Floss Queen. And I ordered it through Needles in a Haystack. It is wood. And I had my initial. And I chose the writing that says, I cannot count my day complete till needle, thread, and fabric meet. This is wood. This is wood. And they slice it so thin that it actually folds like paper. And I can smell the wood burning on here. It was about $25-ish plus shipping. You know what? This is one of those things I didn't care. This is just beautiful. And it comes with 2 pieces of wool on the inside for your needles. I ordered it for myself, and I'm not sorry I did. And then it just has the little nail on the front here just to wrap your thread around, or ribbon. And I'm sure, you know, you can tuck it down in there, or however you need to tie it. But they had different engravings and different sayings. But my stitchy friends, treat yourself. Treat yourself, you deserve it. For what we spend on other things, this beautiful handmade needle book is something you will treasure. And I am telling you, I can still smell the fire that they, you know, the wood burning on here. You deserve a special treat. Sometimes we go and we buy things and we're like, oh, it's only $10. Oh, it's only $20. This is worth every penny. My friend, you are worth it. You are worth it. Needle in a Haystack. Pop on their website. Order however you want to order for yourself. You will not be disappointed. And it came packaged as such, wrapped in bubble wrap, and it was very fast shipping. I, in fact, just ordered another one for a friend, and it's already been shipped. So treat yourself because you deserve it. Okay? So, well, now, I think that's everything for my cross stitch. That's the end of my WIP parade. I'm just going to touch briefly on some quilting. I was a pattern tester for a woman on Instagram. Her name is Heather, and I believe this might be her first pattern, and it's called Baxter Bones. Okay. So this is the pattern. This is the quilt. I did the crib size, or the small size, whatever size. It was baby throw. Okay. I don't know when this pattern is going to be released. I actually am giving it to my granddaughter Samantha. She just turned 3. So I used my binding. I love doing a scrappy binding. So I used all different colors for the binding. You can see blue, green. I had a floral print in my stash, so I used that for the backing. I have some labels from Sweetwater that are iron-on labels, but I also just stitched it down, and then when I quilted it over the label. So it says 100% handmade, always wrapped in my love, from Grandma for Sammy. So I have that on there. And then I just have these little tags, and I got these from Fat Quarter Shop. I really like these. This one says handmade, and it just has a heart on the back. I do have some labels that I had made that have my business name on them. So She Sews and Quilts. But I didn't put that on this one. So this is, I wonder if I can show you the quilt pattern. If you are a long arm quilter and you do use computerized designs, this is a design by Christy Dillon of My Creative Stitches. It's called Paws, something with paws. But it has dog paws and dog bones on it. So I used this edge-to-edge design on this quilt, and it's cute. So as I said, this is a new pattern. It has not been released yet. It's still in the testing stages. Here, I'll show you this way. It does come in a larger size, and in all honesty, you could make this whatever size you wanted because it's 2 blocks. It's the puppy face block. It's the puppy face block, and then it's the bone block. And then there is some sashing in between. And then there's also sashing down here. So, you know, if you're good with math and you really just want to make this larger, I think it might come... I know she offered 2 sizes for us to make, and I chose the smaller size. But I think the other might be like a twin. So I would rate this pattern personally as a confident beginner because it has a lot. There were 120 1-inch pieces that are used to snowball the corners, like right here. And that's what gives it the look. Like this ear has 3 alone. Okay? And that's what it is with picture quilts, right? You need those little pieces to help shape what it is that you're doing. So it's not difficult, but if you're not comfortable with working with tiny little pieces like that, I would say maybe just give yourself an hour to sew one day and then walk away from it, because it can be very frustrating. I know that when I was doing mine, I did 1 block. I always test 1 block just to make sure. And of course I did it wrong because I wasn't paying attention. And I flipped. I had the wider part over here. So, which was okay anyway. It made the dog look more like an older dog than a puppy dog with a smaller face. It probably could have worked. It really wouldn't have mattered. But I had to do it the way the designer designed it. So the pattern, the way I chose it, my interpretation was, you know, obviously it is contrasting for the pattern, but I tried to keep it in the same family. I knew right from the beginning I was going to make this for Samantha. Brielle, my other granddaughter, who's going to be 3, she already has a quilt. Sammy does too. She's got a couple small ones, but you know what? It doesn't matter. They should all have more than 1 from Grandma. So when I was putting these together, I wanted to make sure that I pulled out a fabric or a color that complemented the actual puppy, like here, the purple. So if you're interested in this pattern name, it is called Baxter Bones, but it has not been released. And I know that I have to have my notes to her by the end of March. So I suspect it might even be maybe April or May before she releases the pattern. But if you're interested in more information, I'm going to put her Instagram name in the drop-down box. I've been trying to get better with adding information just because, you know, I'm taking it baby steps. I know my first few videos, I was like, I don't edit, and I don't. And I'm trying to put information in the drop-down box just in case, because I know how frustrating it can be. Normally when I sit and I watch Flosstube, I have my notebook, and I have been using the same notebook that I've been using to write my notes for when I do my Flosstube, just so that I have it. Like when I was watching Fat Quarter Shop the other day, I was writing in here that there's something, Stitching with the Housewives has come out, or is coming out, or I'm not even sure now. All I wrote was Housewives coffee. I don't know what I meant. So I know I have to go back to the Fat Quarter Shop website and look up Stitching with the Housewives and search for coffee, because I think that I meant that there was a really cute coffee pattern, but I don't know if it's part of a series, and it might be part of a series, and I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to have a monthly subscription like that. So yeah, so I do try to keep notes, and I know it can be frustrating if somebody talks about something and you're like, oh, I got to check on that, but sometimes you don't know where to go. So I'm getting better at putting notes in the drop-down box. Now, I think that is it. You can see behind me, I have an literally old wall hanging that I did. I believe it's a Thimbleberries pattern. That is from probably the 80s or early 90s. Oh, friends, I almost forgot. How could I have almost forgotten this? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm not going to lie. When I picked this up, I cried. I cried. First of all, because of what it represents to me, because I stitched on this piece going through my cancer journey. I started it November 1st. My surgery was November 11th. So I started it to get it underway because I was going to use it during my recovery time. Something to help focus, right? So that's what this piece represents to me. And when I finished it, and I've posted this, if you're a member of the Homespun Needlework group on Facebook, I have posted this a few times, but it came back. I had this framed. It cost me about $90 with tax, and I had it done at Hobby Lobby, and I was shocked. First of all, I was shocked at the price, because I really thought it was going to be at least twice as much, right? My friends, my Americana red. I cannot tell you how proud I am of this piece. Now, I have spoken before about the changes that I made. I put my birth date in, where is she? Oh, right over here. I put my birth date. I changed the shape of the roof of the house. I wasn't sure if it was a house or if it was some type of place of worship, but it was more rounded. So I changed it to more of a point. And then I also eliminated the row of cherries. Now, in the initial pattern, all the way across the bottom here was a row of cherries, and I just didn't feel that it was appropriate for this particular picture. So I took that off, and then I moved this design upward. And then I recharted most of this. I moved things around. I put the year here, and I charted my name 1/1. And I put my maiden name. So this piece represents me. And I love it. I love it. Hung it in my dining room. I actually moved a piece that I had stitched in the 90s. Moved it so I could put this there. So every time I walk through my dining room, I see it, right? I have already started Americana Blue. I started that January 1st. And friends, Americana White is coming out at market. Now, this is by October House Fiber Arts. I did have my card on which the information that I stitched it. I had it here, and I think I got so excited. I don't know what I did with it. Let me check my book of days. Did I put it in my book of days? I did not. I don't know where I put it. Okay. But I know I have spoken about it, and I know it's listed somewhere in a video. But I am proud of myself. You know, it's always nice when somebody says, wow, that's a really great piece, or you did such a wonderful job. But sometimes you know in your heart when you didn't give it 110%. And you look at whatever it is that you've done, whether, you know, you've baked a cake, or you've cleaned a room, or you've stitched something or made something, and you stand back and you say, you know what, I did a good job, but maybe I could have done blah, blah, blah. So we take that and we look at it as a learning opportunity. What didn't I do, and why didn't I do it? Was I having an off day? Did I feel I really didn't need to? Was I okay with how it was finished, or whatever? Yeah, okay. I made a new recipe for dinner. Oh, I could have done something different. Well, did it taste good when you made it? Yeah, but, right? And I'm not saying that in a negative way, because I look at those things as opportunity for growth, opportunity for change. And what could I have done to make this better? When I look at that piece, I know I gave it 110%, and I know it is 110%. Any mistake that I made, I picked out. Normally I would have been like, I probably could. But because this piece represents the journey that I made with my breast cancer and surgery and recovery, I want to be able to look back at that piece and say, I did it. And I did it all. And I'm happy, beyond happy with the results. Now, on to Americana Blue, and then Americana White. And I know that I will stitch Americana White with white. I can't remember what it called for. I looked really quickly. I've already pre-ordered it through Hobby House. I can't remember what the thread color is. It is a classic Colorworks. But I have to see the linen. I don't want to stitch on 40 count. I will probably stitch on 36. I'm not even sure if it's going to be a Lugano linen. I don't even know. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that I will stitch it in white. Americana Blue, and I've shown that before, is I am using a blue for that. But friends, she's home, and she's hanging on my wall. And I love her, and I am very, very proud of her. So, with that, I will leave you today. I'm not even sure how long this is. I'm going to check because I got to put my glasses on to see. Oh, it's an hour. Gosh darn it. Why don't... Oh, whatever. Whatever. It is what it is, right? Okay. So I will be back probably in a couple weeks' time. I do have some finishes that I'm working on. They are down on the table in the quilt studio. I can finally say that I feel some type of mental clarity. I will be meeting with my oncologist this coming week, as well as my radiologist for follow-ups. But I'm feeling, physically, I feel very good, but mentally, emotionally, socially, occupationally, all of those other dimensions of health, they're starting to finally come back together, and I feel like a part of me is back. So, in the meantime, I hope you all enjoy your stitching. The next time I see you, it's going to be March. Okay, and we're going to start talking about our St. Patrick's Day stitching, and I already have a problem with that. That's a story for another day. So my friends, thank you so very much for joining me on my WIP Parade, parts 1, and this part 2. I hope to see you soon. I hope wherever you are, it is wonderful, glorious, and beautiful. Even if the sun isn't shining, you make the sun shine. Remember, you deserve it. You treat yourself. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.